Hey guys, welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and hope everybody's doing okay and having a good day, and appreciate you guys tuning in for the episode today. Guys, we're going to be talking about something that has been in the news in the bass fishing world for the past 2 years, and that is people getting disqualified for this no information rule. And I'm going to talk to you guys about why the no information rule is a bunch of BS and needs to be completely eliminated from tournaments. Now, I have been in the middle of this thing, and my opinions have varied on it throughout the years. But after the past 2 years, thinking about it and seeing all the injustices surrounding this rule in terms of disqualifications, we're going to be talking about why this rule needs to be eliminated from all bass fishing tournaments and give some options on, what would be better, than this particular rule. So we're going to get into that in today's episode. Also, guys, real quick, I just want to remind you, you've heard me talking about this a couple times, but man, this thing is really cool. I just want to invite you, if you guys are looking for a really nice bait cast reel, check out this Lews Custom Pro here, guys. This is a freaking awesome reel. 11 ball bearings. It's got super smooth drag system on it. It's just like butter when you reel the thing. Casts a mile. Great star drag system. It's got a great braking system on it. I got mine at Tackle Warehouse. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to use that link and get you one of them, because Tackle Warehouse has got a big Black Friday sale going on right now, and they got discounts on reels and everything. So I'll put that link in the description there. And also, guys, thank you very much for everybody that's hit that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. We have only got 30% of the people that watch these videos of my channel that are subscribed. If you guys want to help the channel out and push it in the YouTube algorithm, hit that subscribe button, share the video, like the video, comment on the video. That's a really good way to give back if you like some of the content here on the channel. And me and my family really appreciate everybody that's doing that. Okay, guys, let's dig into this. This is going to be, a lot of people are going to have mixed opinions on this, but I've had a varying opinion. I was for so many years, guys, I was a hardcore no information rule type stickler, because this has been going on forever. It's like this whole accessing information and getting information prior to tournament cutoffs and that type of stuff, it's been going on forever, since the beginning of bass tournaments. And it has always been an issue. I mean, there's always been something come up with this. But what you've had is the last 2 years specifically in Bassmaster and MLF, there has been a rash of people getting disqualified for breaking this no info rule, failing polygraph tests, all through that thing. And I'm going to talk to you guys why it is complete bullshit. It needs to go. It's antiquated. It doesn't work. And I'm going to give you guys a good option to this. Okay, now originally, what this rule is intended for, in its pure state, it's intended for people to not go out before a tournament and hire guides or pay people for information to give them fishing spots. That creates an unfair advantage, because that was going on a lot. There used to be a period of time where pros would pay people, to show them places or take them places, or they'd split their winnings, something like that. And that's what the rule was intended for. But now what's happened is it is so anal, this in particular rule, that it is all encompassing. And there's never been a foundation that is universal for every tournament circuit, because some tournament circuits, it's like, okay, there's a 30-day cutoff on information. You can't receive any information 30 days to a tournament. And then the next tournament organization, it's, 3 days prior. And then the next tournament organization, it's like, you can receive information anytime you want to up until the day of the tournament starts. And you can't receive information during the competition, but you can receive information as soon as you're done weighing your fish in. So it's been all over the board and some of them have no rules on it whatsoever. There's never been a universal in the line deal on no information. Every tournament circuit's got a different format, a different way they handle that. And what happens is when people are challenged by that, they're either disqualified from the tournament, or they're taking polygraph tests and failing or passing the polygraph tests. And guys, there has been a ton of people the last 2 years that have taken polygraph tests on this issue about the no information rule and failed that polygraph test, when I know they were not cheating and they were not doing anything wrong. There's been a bunch of people out there that have failed tests, because what happens, if you've ever taken a polygraph test, which I have and passed, this is what happens. Let me run to you. I was polygraphed at a Bassmaster at a FLW tournament at Lake Gunnersville, a random polygraph. I made the top 10, and they picked one person out of the top 10 to get a polygraph. So I was informed by FLW, the tournament director, Bill Taylor, say, Randy, you need to take a polygraph test. You got a random test, no big deal. So anyway, they get you in this room with this polygraph examiner, and they strap you up with all this apparatus. You got something on your belly, you got probes on your fingertips, you got electrodes on your chest, and you're sitting down at this polygraph machine. And I don't care who you are, guys, that creates a level of anxiety. It's like, okay, you're sitting there thinking, it's like, God, did I do something wrong that I can't remember what I did? And you got all this stuff going through your head. So they begin asking you questions. I think one of the first questions they asked me, it's like, were you on the water, or did you talk to anybody about fishing 30 days before the tournament? I said no. So I went through the whole thing and passed it just fine. But what happens is polygraph tests give a false result, because some people out there, it creates so much anxiety, even though they may not have done anything wrong, that the polygraph test gives a false positive on it. That is why polygraph tests are easy to fail. They're easy to pass. People, special forces in the military teach people how to pass polygraphs all the time. And some people are they're just naturally anxious people, and their blood pressure goes up and they start overthinking and they fail the test. So polygraph tests are a bunch of crap. But here's the thing about it, is why this no information rule needs to go. Number one is, I can't think of any time, ever since I've been fishing, you always have people that want to help you out. And I've even solicited, I've had buddies that live on lakes that I'm going to a tournament, and I've called them up beforehand, say, hey, what's going on? What's been the tournament weights? What's the lake look like? We just talk about fishing prior to the cutoff of no information. You know how many times that's helped me, guys, throughout the course of my 40-year fishing career? Zero. In fact, you know how many times it's hurt me? A ton of times. Because what happens is you get some information from somebody that's not in the tournament. The information that you're getting from somebody is something that happened prior to the tournament. It happened a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whatever. That doesn't exist anymore. So 9 times out of 10, if you solicit some information and you get information from somebody, it doesn't work, and it winds up hurting you because you're running some type of a past ghost that doesn't exist anymore instead of fishing the current conditions. So this whole idea that accessing or getting information prior to a tournament helps some people gain an unfair advantage, it's simply not true. I'm not saying it doesn't occasionally happen, but 9 times out of 10, it hurts you more than helps you. So that's the number one thing. And let me give you a prime example of how effed up this whole disqualification for receiving information was. I was disqualified at the Lake of the Ozarks 200 Series tournament, the last day of the tournament this past fall. I had made the top 10 in the tournament, and throughout the course of the practice and the tournament and months leading up to this, I had a friend that was another competitor, a pro competitor in the tournament. He was from Kentucky, and he helped me out a little bit at Kentucky Lake when we were there. And I said, hey man, when you come to Lake of the Ozarks, I'll be happy to help you out there. So we were talking about fishing for months leading up for this tournament. So anyway, I made the top. He wanted some advice from me. So I told him before he went to the tournament, I said, hey man, this is where you need to be fishing at. I gave him these areas to fish at as a return, the favor for how he helped me out at Kentucky Lake. So to fast forward, the last day of the tournament, I made the top 10. He didn't make the top 10. I talked to him right after we got off the lake, and then I simply forgot after the top 25 meeting that you can't talk to anybody about fishing after the meeting starts. And we talked about 10 minutes after the meeting because I was excited. I made the top 10, and I didn't even think anything about it. I forgot about it. I got DQ'd for what they said was getting information. I didn't get any information. I told him where to fish. I was asking him, and we were talking about the areas we fished that week that I told him to go to, but I got disqualified for talking to him about fishing on places I told him to go to. And that's how screwed up this whole no information rule is. And every one of those scenarios is the same thing. And what we've seen, and there was a guy, the reason I did this video, there was an angler down at, got disqualified for some type of jackleg, vague violation of no info rule at Lake Okeechobee at the Bassmaster EQ tournament last week. And it made me think about how this is the most stupid rule in the world, that it needs to go. It doesn't accomplish anything. It winds up getting stigmas attached to fishermen, because there's a bunch of dickmongers out there that started calling me a cheater for getting disqualified at Lake of the Ozarks when I told this guy I was talking to where to go. I told him the places to go to. I'm talking to him about the places I told him to go to and the baits I told him to use. So people label you automatically. They have this mob mentality. Somebody gets DQ'd for some type of a rule violation, and they have the stigma attached to them as being a cheater when they are not a cheater. They have a stigma attached to them for cheating because they failed a polygraph test, and they probably did it honestly. So tournament organizations have put anglers in a very difficult position, and they have harmed a lot of anglers' career by this no info rule that doesn't serve any purpose. I'll tell you how they can change that, and how if they want to make it fair. The rules in general are designed for two things in a tournament. They're not designed for safety, and they're designed to have a level playing field. You know what the biggest freaking unlevel playing field in this entire tournament fishing world is? It's income disparity and financial elitism. You got one angler out there that can have 6 cheater boxes on his boat. He can have a $150,000 bass boat. And then you've got somebody else in the same tournament that doesn't have any money, and he's got a little 6-inch, 2D sonar and a 1996, Evinrude 2-stroke outboard on the thing, competing in the same tournament. You want to have a level playing field, and you want to, try to create that scenario, you have to have equipment limitations that everybody has to adhere to that gives them the same level of playing field. Whatever it is, the amount of rod and reels in the boat, depth finders, whatever like that. That is something that makes a real difference. This whole thing about, getting info or something like that is not something that creates a level playing field. It does not help people. It occasionally will help some people, but like I said, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. And 10 times out of 10, this income disparity and the financial elitism always winds up creating an unlevel playing field. So guys, if it was up to me, I talk about my fantasy all the time about winning the Mega Millions $1 billion lottery and buying up all the tournament organizations. I would freaking clean house on all those rules. There are so many jackleg rules in there that were put in place by people that are disconnected from the reality of tournament fishing, or they have been pushed in a certain direction by a very small vocal minority of anglers to create this plethora and you got to have a freaking college degree to read through the rules. There's so many of them that basically don't create this level playing field and fair play that we're all after. So anyway, no info rule, guys. I've been all over the thing with it, but I can tell you right now, it needs to go. It's not helping anything. It doesn't have hardly any impact on the tournament. It winds up hurting more anglers than it does helping the organization. Time for that to go and replace it for something else. So let me know what you guys think about it. We'll talk later.